Amazon, turn on tape machine. Hello everyone, welcome back to the studio. Today I'm going to show you 25 studio gadgets that have genuinely changed my life in the studio. Small tools that make your life in the studio a little bit easier and sometimes a little bit more fun. In my list, you will find things that help with the everyday studio struggles, from checking what kind of USB cable you're even holding, to connecting your gear instantly with no cable mess, to playing your guitar without a power supply nearby, setting up microphones faster, keeping cables out of control, tuning up your guitars quickly, and even making sure you protect your ears while mixing. There are little studio essentials that you don't think about until you have them, and then you can't live without them. And trust me, number 10 and number 20 are absolute must-haves. Okay, let's jump straight in. The first item on my list is an extremely affordable item, but I have to tell you, I have bought so many of these, and these are these anti-slip dashboard pads from Jimmy Shop. These guys, they are a godsend. Basically, they are these really sticky pads that allow you to put them on a desk, and then any piece of gear that you add on top of them is gonna stay there. They don't leave any residue, they stick very well, they're washable. I use it for my Mac Studio, I use it for my Universal Audio Apollo Twin so that it doesn't move. I use it for my Thunderbolt hubs, I use it to keep power supplies in place. These are amazing, they're dirt cheap, and these are the best ones that I found. So if you have a slippery desk or you want to make sure that things won't move, get this. Number 2 is this little guy, and this is from OHR Labs. This is basically a decibel meter, which shows you your decibel values instantaneously. So that means you can have it on your desk permanently. Most of the times I have it just under my speakers right there, and it shows you how loud you are. If you go a little bit louder, you will see that you will get these numbers changing color. So you go from green to yellow to orange to red, and that means this little guy prevents you from producing too loud, from mixing too loud, and most importantly, it tells you about any possible damage to your ears, which is our most important tool, right? Now you might say, I could use my phone for this, and I'll tell you 2 reasons why you won't. Number 1, this is way more accurate. Number 2, you will never have your phone on all the time when you're mixing and producing, draining its battery, and then of course you can't use your phone. So in the end, you're never gonna do it. This does one thing, and it does it very well. The build quality is amazing. I don't know if you'll be able to tell from the video, but this is all metal construction, and I think that every studio should have one of those. On number 3, I have +3 from Endorphins and my good friend Loopop. This is something that I've made a video about, and when I made this video, I explained why I think it's brilliant, and that was the original, but since then I actually bought a second one because I found it so useful. Pretty much what this does is, this is an expression pedal in a fader form, so you don't have to use this clunky expression pedals. So you can use this for expression, but you can also map it to be any controller you want. I've shown you on my video how to do this. And you also have a sustain right here. So if you press this, you activate sustain, and you can even hold your sustain by flipping this switch right here, which is really useful. I found these way more useful than I ever imagined, because you can actually control everything. I control my guitar pedals, I can control my real tape delay, my echo fix, and I can change the speed of my tape delay. So these are very useful. I think they're totally worth the price, very well built, totally recommending. The next gadget is brilliant. This is the Explorers kit from MyVolts. Let me explain what that is. So basically, this comes in a kit that has a power bank, and it has these adapters right here, and also your cables. But the most important thing is the combination of the power bank with these adapters. That means that you can grab this adapter right here, and you have a tip with a barrel, but then you can adapt this to USB-C, which means you can go completely mobile with a power bank and power your guitar pedals, power your Sims, power the refaces, power my Arturia Astrolab, which I really wanted. This was one of the main reasons why I got this. I think for the Arturia Astrolab you need this adapter, the 12 volt with positive center, and you can go and use your gear anywhere you want, your drum machines. If you get the right adapter, you're good to go. And of course, you can see your battery percentage right there. All metal. I love this thing. I'm traveling a lot, so this is huge for me. Maybe I'm gonna make a video. Let me know if you want me to make a video about this, but I'm gonna have links down below. Let's move on to number 5. The next thing on my list is this Anker charger, and this is something again that has really helped me because it's a desktop charger, and not only I can just have instant access to it if I want to charge anything on my desk. I might want to power lights, I might want to power a USB MIDI keyboard, I might want to power a USB synth. But the other great thing is that you can actually see how fast your device is charging. So for example, if I plug something in, you will see exactly how quickly a device charges, so you know if your cable is good enough and if your device is a fast charging device. So for example, if I plug in my MacBook Pro right here, it will show me 140 watts. So it's very accurate. And the great thing is I can even set port priority. So if I know that I want to charge a device really fast, I can set one of these 4 ports, and it also has some ports on the side, to be a priority port, which means it's going to get the most power at any given time. Really nice, not cheap, but it's the best thing you can have on your desk. The next item that has really changed my life in the studio, and I would recommend it to anyone that has more than one mics, but maybe one stand, is these microphone quick releases. So let me show you how they work. These are from Gravity. I'm going to have links down below because I honestly don't remember how all these products are called. Many of them I've bought many years ago, but I've been using them ever since. So let's say I have my shotgun mic, my Sennheiser 416. I can just go like this, remove it, and then let's say I want to record a Neumann 87 today. I just go and attach my Neumann, and there we go. Super simple. I don't have to twist the stands or anything like that. If I want to go back to the previous mic, boom, go back to my Sennheiser, done. So easy, and these are so cheap. These are like, I don't know, again, 6 quid. I have this on all my microphone mounts. The next thing on my list is, again, something that I bought recently, and this is not sponsored. I bought this with my own money, but it wouldn't make any difference if it was sponsored because I would say exactly the same thing. And this is the IK Multimedia Arc on Ear. This thing is genius for many different reasons. Basically, what this allows you to do is you have this little guy over here, you plug it into your headphone output of your audio interface. It has all the cables that you need, USB-C cables, the audio cables, everything is right here in this little pouch. You turn it on, and then you can load correction for any headphone that you own, and you can store 5 different headphone profiles. I can have my Odyssey headphones, I can have my Focal headphones, I can have my Sennheisers, and you can actually switch them like this, and you immediately have headphone correction on the go anywhere you are. The other great thing with this little guy is that when you're on the go, which is one of the main reasons why I got it, is you don't have to have your audio interface with you. You just plug it via USB-C, and this becomes an audio interface for your computer, which means you have a DAC, so you can listen to what you're producing on your DAW like Cubase, and you still have your headphone correction right there. And you can also apply studio modes, so you can have like emulations of studios, of different speakers and monitors like the NS10s and all these things. It has its own piece of software where you can program everything, but what I love about it is that it's completely usable standalone, and that's insane. The next thing on my list is these headphone / cable holders. These are actually dirt cheap, and they are so useful. I have at least 4 or 5 of them in the studio in different places. I love these ones specifically because you can rotate them if you want to, so you can unscrew these Allen screws, so you can attach it in any direction. And when you don't use them and you don't want this in the way, you can actually collapse them like this, and they just fade away to nothing. They are amazing, they're super cheap. The company is called Roadworks. I'm going to have links in the description down below. On number 9, we have these little guys. I have bought so many of them. Here's the proof. These are the Rode adapter kits. I think they're called like this. I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to have links down below. Basically, what these are, they solve a very important problem that when you have it, it's already too late. These have every adapter that you could possibly want in one little keychain. Let's say you want a camera adapter. It has a camera adapter right here. Go like this, and then we have this kind of thread. If I remove this, we have this kind of adapter right here, which is for microphones. How many times do you want to mount a microphone on a stand just to realize that you're missing this little screw? I hate this when this happens, so I always keep these in the studio and I always have them with me when I go on location because these are so useful. Just make sure you don't lose them and make sure when you give somebody the adapter that they need, you remember to take it back unless you lose it, right? The next item on my list is this one. I've searched real hard. I've done a lot of research until I discovered this specific device and this specific brand. And this is the BLE CableQ USB cable tester. And basically what this little device does is it actually allows you to test and check what cables you have in the studio. USB-C cables, legacy USB cables, Thunderbolt cables, everything. So let me give you a very quick example. I have this cable right here. This is an anchor cable. And I also have this cable right here. So they look the same. They're USB-C cables, but they are entirely different. So let's say I plug one end here and the other end right here. Now it's going to start measuring this cable and it's going to give me the data speed and the charging power speed. And also it will give me the cable health. I can immediately tell what kind of cable I'm using to connect my gear. So for example, for this one, I can see that it can charge with 15 watts of power and the data speed is USB 2. You can see it right there. Now if I connect this cable right here, you will see the speed is the same because it's USB 2, but the charging power is 100 watts. So this cable is so much better if I want to charge something. And one of the most important things, Thunderbolt cables, these are so important to get right because if you have an audio interface like the Universal Audio Apollo, or if you have a Thunderbolt device like Thunderbolt SSD, or you have a dock, you should absolutely make sure that the cable is right. So this cable is perfect for connecting your Thunderbolt devices. And if you go to specs, you can see all the specs of the cable. You can see the pin connections, all these things. And you also have details for the cable. You can go really, really deep. Now, this device is not cheap. I know it, so you don't have to tell me in the comments, but it's the best that I've ever tried and the easiest to use when it comes to testing cables. If you don't want to be wondering what cables you have, use this. It's going to save you a lot of money in the long run by not using and buying cables that are of subpar quality. The next thing on my list is a thing that I get constant questions about it because I have it on my desk on all my videos and you guys ask me what is it, and this is the Nuances controller. This is version 2. I upgraded to version 2. It's much improved. It has a better slant and it has a better screen. It's faster as well. It's a controller that I use all the time for controlling my sample libraries, my synths and all these things. It's really small. It's handmade in Paris. I've made a video about it. Go check it out. But it is something that I love having on my desk and I've been using it since the first day I got it. The next thing on my list is DIs, and I know it's not exciting, but if you have synths, drum machines, guitars in your studio and you want to record them, you need them. And I've tried so many DIs. These are the ones that I ended up with. First, the radial DIs. You can't go wrong with this. This is a mono version, and I also have the JDI version, which has the Jensen transformers. This has a little bit of a sound. These are very transparent. Another very cool DI is the Canvas Stereo DI, and I love this because you have the option to use it as a DI, but you can also use it to turn your signal from unbalanced to balanced without converting your signal to microphone level. You can still keep it in line level, which is pretty cool. And this has quite a few options, so you can even sum your outputs. You have a pad, you have a ground lift switch, and last but not least, the king of DIs in my opinion, this is the Rupert Neve Designs DI. This is such an amazing DI. I use it specifically for my mini mug because the low end on this DI is insane. It makes any bass sound huge. I love it for drum machines. This is stereo, so I can use it for drum machines. I can use it for synths. And one of the cool features is that you can even plug anything into this 3.5 millimeter jack right here and turn it into 3.5 millimeter mode. And this will turn pretty much any device into balance. So if you have an OP1, if you have a little synth that only has 3.5 millimeter jacks, this will allow you to do this very easily. And of course, it has through outputs as well. The next thing on my list on number 13 is cable ties, and more specifically these cable ties that I've discovered recently. These are smart and cool magnetic silicone ties. Billy, can you pass me one, please? Thank you. Okay, so here is how they look. You see, they're quite long and they have very, very strong magnets, as you can see right here. So if you have a long cable like this one that's also braided, I don't like using the cable ties that are Velcro because they completely ruin the fabric right here. So I prefer to do this, and check this out. You know, you just tie it around it nicely, and then you just attach the magnet, and it's a very strong magnet, and that's it. This is so neat, so tidy, and the cable doesn't go anywhere. In my opinion, they're the best cable ties, especially for USB cables, but sometimes even for instrument cables and all these things. They're cheap, go get them, thank me later. The next item on my list is actually kind of a luxury item, but I wanted to show it to you. This is it, and this is not a vape. These are automatic guitar tuners. Let me turn them on. Basically, this is version 3. Again, not sponsored. I bought all of these with my own money. This was the original that I used to have, and now they came out with version 4. The first reason why I got them was because they have an automatic winding machine. So when you're changing strings, this can actually make the process much easier. But for me, it has the bonus that I can immediately go select the guitar that I want to tune. I can even tune my mandolin, as you can see here. So that's very cool. You place it on your guitar tuner, you play the string, move on to the next string, and this guitar is really sharp right now, I don't know why. And that's it, really, really quickly, and you don't have to have your guitar connected somewhere to a tuner. This new version is supposed to have automatic string detection as well, which is pretty cool, but they haven't added this feature yet as of the making of this video. So I would say, if you want to save some money, go for version 3. It's still really good. In number 15, I have something that most of you are going to find boring, but this is the ultimate pop filter. I have been trying to find the best pop filter for a while, and in my previous studio tour I showed a different pop filter, and this was very, very good, but I think that this is the ultimate one. This is definitely not cheap. It's a very expensive pop filter, but it's the pop filter that you're gonna use for the rest of your life. You're going to be happy with this pop filter. The reason why I was trying to get another pop filter was because I have many different microphones, and even the previous pop filter that I used to have, it was sometimes very tricky to get it to the right place where the microphone was. And this pop filter solves all these problems. And let me show you why, because it's genius. So let's say you have a shock mount like this. This is my shock mount for the U47 microphone. And you can see, you can actually have this little contraption right here, and you can mount it straight onto this shock mount, which means it can be very close to the microphone, and you can just tilt it, you can tighten it very nicely, and you can even change the height, tighten it, and there you go. It's foolproof. It will always work. And if you don't have a shock mount, you can still unscrew this, keep this rod right there, and you can use this kind of adapter so that you can use it on a microphone stand. And then all you need to do is attach your microphone shock mount or the adapters that I showed you earlier on. And this, again, is perfectly aligned with your microphone capsule, which is fantastic. These are made in Germany. The build quality is fantastic. They're not cheap, I know, but take it from me, you will spend the amount of money getting rubbish pop filters throughout your life. You can get this and be done with pop filters. I know they're not exciting, but they're absolutely necessary. The next thing on my list is these guys right here. And these are breakout boxes. Again, not something very exciting, but they're so useful, especially if your interface has multiple outputs and inputs in the back and you don't want to access it by reaching out at the back of your audio interface. So as you can see right here, I have 4 XLR inputs. These go into my Apollo XLRs, so I can plug in 4 microphones straight away without having to go in the back. And then I also have 4 line inputs if I want to connect any synths in the back of my audio interfaces. These are really handy. I have this custom made from a UK shop that only sells cables, and they have been a great help in the studio. The next thing on my list hides here in storage, and it's these organizer pouches from CRD Bag. These are aimed for filmmakers and videographers, but I found them incredibly useful in the studio as well because I can see everything nicely organized. So if I go here, you see I have all my adapters, for example. Right here I have my screws and my accessories. In there I have my external hard drive, so everything is nicely organized so I can see exactly what I have and I don't have clutter in my drawers. These are again not cheap, but they're really good quality. The zippers are all YKK, which means they're gonna last as much as a zipper can last. And I love the fact that you can have these Velcros right here so you can actually label them. And for me, these make sense. Maybe for somebody else, they don't make sense, but boop, I slot it in there and we're good to go. In number 18, I have this little fella right here. This is very affordable. This is a humidity and temperature monitor by Govee. To be honest with you, I was kind of surprised because Govee generally makes lights, LED lights. I use many of their lights here in the studio, but they also do this. And why you might need a humidity monitor, this is very important, especially if you have instruments in the studio like guitars, like synths. You need to know if your environment is very humid because humidity can destroy an instrument, or if you have a very dry environment, it could be very bad for guitars. But the special thing about this guy, because of course I had other humidity monitors up to this point, is that this is a smart humidity monitor, which means I can check all the data on my smartphone and see exactly what the humidity was throughout the day, throughout the month. I can see the temperature graphs, all these things. This means I can have this in my Taylor's guitar case. I don't have to open the case to see what the humidity is. I can just open my phone and actually check, okay, is the humidity okay? That's fine. When I take it somewhere else and I want to do a recording, I can see, okay, it's very humid here. Maybe I will have to add a dehumidifier or something like this. And this allows me to do this without even opening the case of my guitar. The next thing on my list is in this CRD bag, and it's adapters. Every kind of adapter you could probably want. XLR female to TRS, male XLR to RCA, male XLR to female XLR, male XLR to male XLR, male XLR to female TRS. You have no idea how many times you're ready to go on for a production and the only thing you're missing is a specific type of cable. You don't have it and you can't move on. Well, if you have a bunch of every adapter you can imagine, you can solve these problems without having to wait for a cable to arrive after you purchase it. The next thing on my list, I couldn't just not include this because this thing has really saved my wrists, my carpal tunnel syndrome, and this is the Kensington Slim Blade Pro mouse. I've also done a video about trackball mice and why I think they're so useful in the studio. I know some people hate them. I have so many of these, so many iterations, because I'm afraid that at some point maybe they will stop making them and I can't work without one of these. I'm so fast producing, audio editing, mixing, video editing with this guy, and you have all these buttons that you can assign to many different things. Like I can jump from my mix to my reference track in Cubase, all right here. If you're going to get one of those, I would say give it a week or two before you decide if it's for you or not. For me, I'm never switching back to a normal mouse. The only thing that I can tolerate is the Apple Magic Trackpad because it's really nice, but still I'm way faster with this one. This is the Pro version, which means it's wireless, it can be Bluetooth, you can use its own dongle to connect it to your computer, and you can also change the DPI settings right here, and the battery lasts for ages. I suggest you try one once in your life. The next thing on my list is again a very affordable thing, and it's this Allen and screwdriver multi-tool. This is it, and the reason why I got this was not for the screwdriver bits, but for the Allen bits. There are so many times that you want a specific Allen key and you're trying to find it in your guitar tools and all these things, and sometimes you just need the one size that you're missing, and this has pretty much all the sizes, and it has this really useful ratchet where you can actually screw things and unscrew things very easily. You can use it this way in a T kind of shape, or you can use it like this. You can configure it in any way you want. This is dirt cheap. I would say pretty much every studio needs one of these. On number 22, I have these smart extension leads. These are from TP-Link, but I think you can find them from other companies as well. But basically, of course, you can turn on each one of the devices that you have connected here, but you can also enable them or disable them using an app. And that means even if you're not at the studio, you can say, okay, turn on this device, turn off this device, and all these things. But the most important thing is that now I can go and do this. Amazon, turn on Big Sky. You know what I mean? I've connected so many things to these extension leads, like my pedals. I've connected my tape machine when I don't want it to be running all the time because it makes noise. My camper, everything that I can't easily access, I just turn them on with a voice command. Mwah, amazing. The next thing on my list is truly genius. I don't know why more people are not talking about it and why not every studio has one of those, but these are the Crownborn Audio N22s. Now, what these allow you to do is they allow you to connect your gear using Ethernet cables. Instead of having long XLR cables running through your studio, you actually use Ethernet cables and you connect your gear in your studio with this very thin and very affordable cable instead of having like multiple XLRs. So the first device right here is for my tape machine. So I have my tape machine connected, as you can see right here. So we have ins and outs. And the second N22 is the one that I use for my preamps. So you can see I have the 1073 here. So if I plug a microphone here, it goes to my 1073 preamp. And if I plug a microphone here, it goes to my Portico preamp, which means I can pick and choose preamps very easily without having to do any crazy cabling every single time. If you want me to make a video on this, let me know. They're completely passive, they don't require any power, and they can be used for line and microphone signals. The next item is a new addiction for me, and it's these toolboxes. These are metal, they're made in Japan, and I have loads of them. There's also some more affordable versions that, as far as I know, are made in the same factory and they're almost identical, but this is the original, so let me show it to you. So these are all metal, very satisfying, and for example, for this one, I have maybe just 1/5 of my cables, and I'm talking about USB cables, Thunderbolt cables, and all these things. So as you can see, I have them right here. I find that this is the fastest way for me to get to the cable that I want. I also have some of them in Ziploc bags so they don't get tangled, but here I have the more high-end cables, for example, and I know that, okay, these are going to be very high quality Thunderbolt cables that I've tested with the cable tester, and I know they work, and it fits a lot of stuff in there. Once I'm done, close it up, and I put it back in the cupboard, which is amazing. And the last thing on my list is this one. This is the Planet Waves finger exerciser. I don't know, I've had this for years and years and years. I think that the first versions were coming in 3 colors. Yellow was very light, blue was medium, and there was a red one that was the hardest one. This is actually a device that allows you to exercise your fingers. I've been using it since I was, I don't know, 14 years old. When I was studying for my piano diploma. I'm not suggesting that this is the proper exercise for piano players or for guitar players, but it actually helps you build your hand muscles a little bit more so that you get less fatigue. For me, it has helped me. That's why I've been using it for so many years. And this particular one, you can actually make it lighter by turning these dials right here, or you can make it harder. So the more you turn it up, the harder it becomes. My tip for pianists is not just do this, but start doing stuff like this. You know, it's harder than it looks. It's very, very hard, but then you can do stuff like this, you can do stuff like this, and this gives you dexterity, I find. But be careful, if you feel any pain, don't use it, right? But that's the last item on my list. So there you go, my friends. This is my list of essential gadgets I use in the studio day in, day out. In the comments down below, let me know what are your favorite studio gadgets you have discovered, because it's very likely that I might want to add them to my studio. Thanks for watching, and make sure you subscribe, because one of the next videos is going to be a tour of my entire studio. So you don't want to miss it. I'll see you later, guys. Bye-bye. Amazon, turn off tape machine.